Good.
Very good. Awesome. And let me actually start the session, right? And my name is Srinivasa, and I'm from India. And I was there into direct selling industry, was into direct selling industry for the last 2.5 decades, and worked with a couple of companies and was very successful. But we are always looking for something which can give us a legacy and a long-term business opportunity. And that's where, friends, I actually found NHT Global as my last home. Okay. And all this happened only after me having a discussion with Mr. Dalibor and Joe Garcia, right? Okay. And probably I could not even forget that conversation we had with him for like almost like 1 hour on that day. And that has cemented, my entire belief, that I could make a long-term impact in this country through NHT Global, right? Okay. And it could only happen only with a person like Joe Garcia. So, friends, you are so fortunate. I can tell you, I'm very clearly remember the day, almost like every, conversation we have with him. And you know, Joe, I think let me tell you what impact you create in my life after coming into my life. It's impeccable, and me and my family are so blessed to have you. And a lot of conversation happened with you. And every time I talk to you, I've become a best person. And today, I can tell you, friends who are here, I can tell you very much with actually all authenticity. I can tell you you will get the best of the best, and you'll remember in your life the session what happened today, right? And I just want to tell you an important thing about Mr. Joe. Just imagine, okay, and someone started with the company, is the first idea of the company, and had a huge vision. See, I think many direct sellers and network market leaders, we have a big vision and dream of doing like this, and started with a vision, started with one vision, and he built a business to $3 billion across 50 plus markets. Just imagine, right? A dream come true for many leaders across the world also. Okay, and very known personality in direct selling world, and has been with NHT Global from the beginning. Almost like 25 years he was there with the company. Even today, yesterday Joe was telling I'm in Japan training some leaders. Okay, I don't know what kind of energy he gets like this to even reach to different parts of the world and train the leaders and take to next level. See, I was an identity trainer for many months. And after listening to Joe, I thought, no, there is no one better than Joe who can really have great thoughts about identity and all. Okay, now. Um, Today, I think, Joe, this session is all about understanding the vision for India. And I always believe, there could be no better person or, a better leader than you, Mr. Joe, actually, right? Okay. Can you give us a small understanding? Because we all want to hear from you only. Okay. What is that initial, thoughts in your mind when you started NHT, and how you really had the kind of vision, and how could you really see that it could go around this world? Even people are asking me, what kind of vision you see now? I say, I seen what actually Joe has seen, right? I just want to have your thoughts on this, and so that people sitting in this session could understand what Joe is all about, and then we'll take it forward. Right. So back to you.
ALN, you look fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very much.
Um, you know, it's 25 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying this. 25 years ago, January 2001. You know, thinking about that day, that time in my life, the one thing that I want to just share with everybody that changed everything for me is I fell in love with my dream. I had a clear vision of what I wanted to live like. I projected it out to the universe. And Neil, I know you and I have talked about this. A lot of people mistaken the word love. I didn't like my dream. I didn't say, okay, if this happens, I'm going to be okay with it. I was in love with it. And I can just, for those of you who've been married or fell in love with someone, just think back at that time when you fell in love with someone. You didn't have to look at your watch and say, "Oh, I better start thinking about ALN right now." I better start thinking about her or him. What you did is that person was always playing in the movie in your mind. That's the honeymoon phase. If we look back when we all started relationships, or we ended up getting married, we end this honeymoon phase where everything is great. The future is possible. We have all this hope that most human beings, that depending on the person, that honeymoon phase slows down to reality after maybe a month. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a few months, sometimes it's a year. But I was so in love with my dream. I nourished it every single day, Alan. And I also attached it to my family. Um, I at that time I had one child, another child come on my way when I started the industry, and I attached to my family that I would never quit. What would my kids think of me if I quit? What would their life look like if I quit on my dream? So I attached my love of my family to my dream. So quitting was never an option to me. So going back when we launched NHT Global, January 2001, with just one product, and we had a vision of going global because I knew the internet was going to change the world. I knew that it would give me the opportunity to build a business around the globe. And this is before ALN smartphones. This is
Mm,
before the fax machine was still the number one technology
I
back
understand.
then, outside the internet, right? In terms of communicating. Um, and then when Skype launched, it became a game changer. And I knew that the world was going to change and that we could go global very quickly. And I was prepared to invest my own money for my dream to travel the world. Um, I was not looking at anybody to fund my dream. I was going to do it and be
Yes.
the face of launching into these markets and training people to the truth. Because I think in network marketing and direct sales, everyone talks about how great everything is, and you could become a millionaire overnight, and these exaggerated truths. I wanted to be totally transparent and tell people the truth of what it's going to take to succeed, to go after your dreams, whatever it is, right? And that no dream is small enough and no dream is big enough. So um, that was really the vision when we got started with
Excellent.
NHT 25
Excellent,
years ago.
Joe. What a way of saying, right? You said I fell in love with dream. Okay, that's a great learning from you because we always have dreams, but got in love with the dream. Like how people actually get in love in honeymoon. I think is a fantastic thing. And you also told me in one of conversations, right, that you travel more than 70 plus countries, okay, in expanding my business and all, okay. Um, I was so moved on that day. The kind of effort you put to build a business to this level, for any salesperson, right, any direct salesperson or any salesperson, doing a business to $3 billion, okay, in 25 years, probably by itself, it's a great achievement, Joe, actually, okay. It all started because of the love towards your dream and your family, right? Okay, now I have one more question, Joe, actually. How do you believe, right? Why is India strategically important for NHT Global? I just want to bring to the today's topic. So, why do you believe that India is strategically important to NHT Global?
Okay, so that's a great question. And I'm going to be, again, more transparent than anybody will hear on this. And I don't want to offend anybody in India because that's not my goal, because I believe in the India market. My best friend growing up was born in India, so I was
Mhm.
very familiar with the culture. So let's take it back, guys, to 2018.
Okay.
China tied the United States as the number one market in the world. In the
Yes.
90s, China started network marketing around the same time as India did, you know, back in the mid 90s. And if you look at two of those markets, they have very similar population, very similar middle class. Biggest difference is China is communist, uh, and India is more of a democratic society. So, but India was number 30 on the list. 30 on the list. A country of Canada that has 40 million people was 15 on the list. Okay. So when you look at India, there's massive potential just because of the middle class that we have in India. But more importantly, you can network the whole world from India.
Yes.
So it's kind of like living here in Toronto, Canada. We have every culture known to mankind here. Um, if you follow the World Cup, there's parades of every country that's come here to play. There's
Yes.
parades from the people that are living here, thousands of people. So I knew that I could network the whole world just through Toronto. So from a visionary standpoint, a lot of you may not understand this, why this is India so strategically important is that you may be in Mumbai who introduces a business person in Hyderabad who knows someone in California, and that person
Yes.
in California knows someone in China.
True.
That's one of the major advantages to NHT because of uh, our global infrastructure. And you don't have to travel like I did to launch all these markets, right? But the question is today, why is India, many companies have launched into India in network marketing and they're no longer operating in India. If you talk to a lot of those CEOs, they would tell you it's been a difficult market to penetrate for a number of reasons. So that tells you in today's world, India has such incredible potential. Everybody sees it. But how you are going to do this? I think what's happened uh, in network marketing for a long time in India, it's catered to the masses. A lot of companies have come in and wanted to cater to the masses that someone that doesn't have a car in Mumbai can start and build a business. Yeah, they can do that. It's a great part of network marketing. You know, where a person who's 1 out of 10 is a number 1 out of 10 in terms of skill sets can become a 10. That's the great part of our business. But I believe of many of the leaders around India, they've been chasing money rather than legacy. You know, and you'll see on average many of those leaders or so-called leaders have jumped to many, many companies, thinking that next company is going to make them rich. You know, they may be able to build a business quickly for a year or 2 years, but it always falls apart for them, and then they're chasing that next company. You know, then the other part I found in India, and this is not unlike a lot of Asian markets, is the entitlement. Because I was successful here, you know, I want a deal, or I want this given to me, I want that given to me. And, and it's so important from a company and a leader that everyone starts the same, that they have the integrity of the compensation plan, that you can't give people special things on a consistent basis and not, it's not duplicatable. It will never work long term. Believe me, I've been doing this for a long time. And
Yes.
um, entitlement is a destroyer of entrepreneurs. It's definitely a destroyer of entrepreneurs. The other thing, Dalibor and I, the great Dalibor Straup, who's leading the charge in India, we've had many discussions with a lot of leaders in India over the years. And one of the things in common that we've seen is a lot of these leaders have had huge organizations in their previous companies, but very low sales. You know, if you have 100,000 people in your team, you should be doing several $1 million a month. So that'll tell you that they've lowered the bar so much in their businesses to cater to the masses that it makes it difficult for any business to thrive long term. So circle back now. So I'm just giving you a little bit of the negatives, but the huge positive is when you build a team with the right training. This is why I'm so excited about UALN, and Dalabor's vision too, is because you understand training, you understand identity, you understand if you change people and you teach them the truth to help them grow, they will figure out the rest. They will build businesses and the loyalty will stay there long term, and that's the greatest part of what we're building in India.
Thank you, Joe. And I can tell you that's what exactly kept me in NHT Global also, being transparent and being ethical, And you said, every leader should start at the same level, same level on the game, right? That is very, very important. If somebody want to create a long-term legacy, probably ethics and transparency plays a very, very important role. Now, I wanted to ask you one more question at this level. See, NHT Global entered in India around 2019. Okay, that's what actually you told me not right now. And why do you believe the best years ahead, are still ahead, actually?
So I like to bring Dalibor onto this question too, but
Yeah.
I'll real important from Dalibor. Dalibor has been to India a couple of times. So 2019 was when the pandemic hit. So it wasn't really the greatest time to launch a business, as we know, with the pandemic. And we've had some really good growth over the years in India. Um, but the challenge is, and you see this across network market around the globe, is people started during the pandemic started getting zoomed out. What I mean by zoomed out is, you know, uh, we were able to pivot with technology, but over time, people need to feel events. This is what an event does, is it feels the people. When you get into a room, you know, um, you feel the people's energy, right? There has
Yes.
never been a temple, a church, a that I know of, or whatever religion that has grown just on the internet. It's because people need to feel the
Mm.
energy of other people. So during those periods, you saw great spikes of growth, but over time, companies have seen around the globe, and certainly with NHT, that when the pandemic was slowly turning down and 2023 came along, what needed to happen was to pivot into events and get back to the basics of network marketing. Technology is fantastic, but the basics of our of building a business is still the same that it was
Yes.
60 years ago, 70 years ago. So um, moving forward, the more that we penetrate the different cities across India, and we're already starting to see other businesses grow outside of India because of Indians, you know, uh, and within India. And as a good example, Alan, Taiwan and Hong Kong was our first countries we launched
Okay.
after 2001, right? First Asian countries. And then we moved into China. Those markets have become our number one markets. Those people started to recruit back into North America, Canada, the United
Okay.
States. And guess what our number one market is in Canada, the United States? Chinese. It's a great example of how the global marketplace is
Yes.
here. So, Dalibor, if you can just come on, and for those of you who don't know Dalibor is one of our highest ranked leaders in all of Europe. Incredible leader. I always joke around with Dalibor. When I started in the business on a scale of 1 to 10, I was a minus 10, but Dalibor was a minus 100 out of 10. Uh, but I'm so proud of Dalibor and the man he has become, uh, the leader that he's become, his resilience, his vision, and there's no better mentor that you can surround yourself with than Dalibor because not because of his knowledge, because he's gone through the steps, the heartaches, maybe this is not working, or he's gone through all these steps that we all have as to go with the leaders. So Dalibor, turn it over to you.
Thank you, Joe. Uh, I remember the conversation we had with you, Ellen, regarding the vision, and I was thinking about it very, carefully. And obviously, you said that, Joe. There was COVID. It's quite obvious it wasn't best timing for any company to start anything anywhere. But I just don't want to blame just COVID because leaders should always take responsibility, right? There is different situations in life. Things happen, and we always have to take the responsibility for what is happening. So, to answer the question to you, Ellen, I want to take the responsibility for what happened in the Indian market because I was in charge of that and I failed in many ways. I will explain. COVID started. Everybody was, very nervous. Obviously, I was nervous too. I didn't know what's going to happen. I was encouraging the team and everything. So one thing was almost over, like 2022. Then the war started, and my wife is from Ukraine, so it was a very difficult time for me
Yes.
to, you know, support the family, support them financially, somehow emotionally. We were traveling there, and I just realized that it was very difficult for me to focus. So for few months, I was basically with my mind, I was off the business. I was not there. It's very hard to say that, but now I'm getting used to it. So I feel the strength again. And the reason why we are having this conversation with you and with all of you guys is that I was confident enough that I have enough strength to start building the business again with the right people. So I don't know if that answers the question to you, Ellen.
I just want to add one important thing, Talibar,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let me be very honest, actually. In my 25 years of my direct selling industry, I worked with one of the great people I told you also earlier. I was privileged to have that kind of opportunity. But I can tell you upfront, I told you also personally, I never found somebody who's consistent and very committed. And I really loved it actually, the way Deliver works. Even nobody can work in the marketplace. I can tell you that. So, see, it's not that responsibility. Please understand that my only my question is, I'm asking. My question is not what happened earlier. my, my question here is no question. Not only my question. Many people in the session has to understand this. Why there's still better years ahead. I just want to give an example with this actually, right? A small example on my side because to add to this, we always know deliver on top. India is going to become one of the successful markets for NHT Global. I'm very, very confident about it. Okay. And I got a very huge vision after talking to you and Joe, and we'll definitely take it there. But I just want to give my own experience, deliver for you. Uh, you know, 1957, the first company I worked with, I don't want to name here, but first company I worked with, the first company for direct selling, they started. And till 1972, it was like it's a very small company, not so big. But 1972, when the leadership came together and actually started creating some systems for training and all, it became number one in the globe, number one in the world after that. I know every company will have a transition time, okay? But what I'm very confident about is after this session, after listening to you and Joe, okay, that transition time is in 2026 now. 2026 to be, a kind of year where we get that kind of transition in Indian market, right? That's what I'm looking at. Okay, thank you for all you've done because I know the beginning work is not so easy and it requires a lot of tenacity. And always tell you for tenacity, for staying consistent, staying strong, you're always 10 out of 10. No questions at all.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it,
I
Ellen.
think what
Just
Dalibor
to
just
finish,
shared.
just to finish one
Sorry.
little
Please,
thing.
please.
I just wanted to give you and all of you the background of what was happening because uh, in network marketing, it's quite easy to get into hype. I know that you are not into hype. Joe is not into hype, but many people accept ex, ex,
Expect it.
what is the
Yeah.
word? Yeah,
Expect.
expect the hype. And I just wanted to explain what is behind it because COVID, it was obvious. I already bought the flight ticket to do next meetings in India. It didn't happen. Since that, I was there twice in 2024, almost for 2 months. And what I've seen is that at that time, it was almost immediately after COVID or in the transition phase, there was a lot of people going from product-based companies into crypto because they have seen that it's easier. You don't have to do anything with the products. You don't have to send anything, So I'm fed up with product-based companies. I go to crypto. And now at the beginning of the year, and that's the reason why I started heavily, promoting NHT at the beginning of this year. I just saw that from crypto, then they transition back to product-based
Product-based company.
companies because they have burned their hands. They realize that in crypto they lose money, that they cannot be consistent in what they are doing. They cannot be ethical towards the people because they have no idea what the company is doing. So when we are promoting our business, we can stay strong. We can be proud of what we are doing because we know that we are offering people great products. If they
Yes.
don't do business, no problem. You can still be a user and you still get the benefits. If something doesn't work in the investment plans, you lose money. So I think that now, as you said, now is the right timing because we are ready. The leadership is ready. The leadership in India is ready. Everything in India regarding the corporate is ready, and the market is ready, which is also
Yes.
very important.
Yes.
So
Thank you,
that's
Delvin.
that's
Thank
my
you.
vision.
You brought a great actually point actually. Now you said people are evaluating different marketing companies, right, to get in. Okay. Now my question to Joe is, why should they seriously consider NHT Global?
I think number one for you for sure, you and Dalibor are leading the charge, and we've got the great Safraz Khan. Here's the thing, guys. I'm just going to give you some facts because facts sell. Are you can't when you see are the facts that I'm just going to share with you. You cannot deny what NHT is. So 25 years in business, closing on 3 billion in sales, over 1.5 billion in commissions paid out. Okay. Um, as little as a couple of years ago, we had 90 million cash in the bank, completely debt free, fully transparent. That's another thing that's really important. Every day companies are starting in India, companies are launching in India, and people are joining these companies without having financial transparency. It's suicide. You would never make a decision on buying stocks of companies if you're smart investors or buying a traditional business if you don't have financial transparency. That's what you get here with NHD. Number two, which is not talked enough, is our product lines. So there's a little uh, difference between NHT and majority of the companies in network marketing. Try to find a company in network marketing in India that tests for over 500 chemicals and toxins on their products. No company does that. It's
Yes.
NHT commitment to transparency and clean products. Here's the thing, guys. If a company is not testing for chemicals and toxins in their products, and we do over 500 third-party testing, um, they will have chemicals and toxins in the product. You can't get away from it because of our toxic world. If it's
Yes.
coming from the sea, if it's coming from plants, uh, wherever the ingredients are coming, you will have toxins in them. Case in point, one of the fastest growing areas in health and wellness globally is plant-based nutrition, plant-based protein. Last year, they did a study and checked for the top selling plant-based proteins, which are sold in India too, 25 of them, 3/4 of them had above normal toxins and chemicals in there, like mercury and lead.
Yes.
Okay. So you're taking something that people say it's plant-based. Okay, it must be healthy for me. And they're ingesting something that is full of chemicals. So here's the thing, transparency also comes with what we put in our mouth. Like I will never put anything in my mouth if it's not tested. I don't trust food companies. I don't trust pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust even supplement companies because of the mighty dollar. They're in it for profit. They will squeeze the margins just to make more money, bring out lesser ingredients. In NHT, you have the highest quality technologies and exclusive to NHT. Here's the other thing that is a secret in network marketing. Majority of companies do not have exclusive rights with their products.
Yeah.
India network marketing companies do not have exclusive rights with the products. If they're telling you they do, more than likely they're telling a lie. Here's the reason why is if you have a product that you formulated yourself. Okay, for example, I'll give you a good example. I have a formula. She's one of the top formulists in the world, and she provided me a product that she wants to take to NHT. But I asked her for some samples so NHT can go and test it themselves. And she created the formula, but she cannot afford to manufacture the product because the manufacturers, just to do a run where the margins, where the price will be good, is about 5,000 bottles. Most network marketing companies cannot afford that to do, or direct sales companies afford to do that because they'll end up throwing out the product based on their sales. Now manufacturers are asking for 10,000 minimum order sometimes. Okay, so if you're a formulist, you've got your greatest product, and the company says, I want exclusive rights for your product, and you've got it manufactured, and they place an order, you will want to have them place minimum orders over the year to get exclusive rights because you're not going to be able to do that. So majority of companies are selling products from generic manufacturers that are being sold in many different locations
Yes.
and other companies. Another example, Filipino network marketing company, Malaysian network marketing company came to me and wanted my opinion, on what they were doing and et cetera, in their company, everything else. And I noticed that they were selling a stem cell product that they are saying they had exclusive rights to. And I went ahead and looked and did a little bit of research through my contacts, and 5 other network marketing companies in Malaysia were selling the same product with different marketing.
Yes.
So I had told them, look, you're not being very transparent here and you're lying. And, it's quite easy to just do a little bit of research if you're in this field. And that's not okay, but that because from being in the industry a long time and where products are coming from, usually most companies are getting it from 3 or 4, depending on the area of the world, manufacturers, and they don't get exclusive rights. So all the formulas in NHT are exclusive to NHT, built for NHT, developed for NHT, and are all based on science. Good question. Good
Thank you.
example
Yeah.
is coming to India soon, our Twin
Coffee.
Slim coffee. I just made a latte with the Twin Slim coffee. There, about 7 years ago, 6 years ago, our leaders in Latin America said, Joe, we would love a coffee product in NHT. It's a hot thing in Latin America. So I exposed it to the NHT product development team, and they said, okay, we'll look and develop our own product. Okay, it took them 7 years, a long time, but they
Yes.
didn't want to be like anybody else in the market. Because if you look at the coffee market and network marketing, 99% of companies are selling mushroom coffee, healthy coffee. They call it, it's a mushroom. Comes from the plant Ganoderma. Okay, all these companies are doing. NHT wanted to do something different. So they created their own formula with real coffee and 15 other healthy ingredients to help you lose weight, maintain your weight, energy like through the roof. I did 10K this morning of a run in 35 Celsius weather, attributed to this
Excellent.
product, That's another great example, exclusive to NHT, built by NHT with the science. And then we have recruited some of the top doctors in the globe to make our products. So, for example, Dr. Ben Beckler, who's a practicing medical doctor, manufactures his own products, formulates his own products, and he's also a scientist. So you won't find any company in the world that has someone like Dr. Ben that takes care of every process of the product. Last but not least, so if here's what I tell everybody, Alan, when they should be looking for a company. If they're want to get involved in the company, the first thing is they gotta look at financial transparency. Never
Yes.
join a company if the company is not going to provide them your books. Because you and I understand we built skills that we can make money in a lot of different locations,
Yes.
but we can't get back our time.
Very
The
true.
first company that I launched with before NHT was a company that was owned by a billionaire owner, was going global, had some really good products, and they ended up going bankrupt.
Yeah, yes.
And I learned a lesson because it had all the great hype, but I didn't know that the company was struggling financially and was a huge debt. So first step is never join a company that you can't get financial transparency from it. It's financial suicide. I'm telling you now. Like none of us would buy a restaurant. If you came to me, ALN, I've got this I've got this restaurant in Delhi. It's on the greatest corner in Delhi. It's a Michelin star restaurant, Michelin star chef. 5 years in a row, they've been the number one restaurant in Delhi and across India and across Asia. You can't get reservations for this place for 5 years, but the owners want to sell and they want to
Yes.
sell it. So, Joe, can you help me invest in the business? So I trust you, ALN, but I'm still going to ask you, can you send me the last 5 years financial figures? I'm not
Yes.
going to invest in anything without transparency, right? Second thing is who are you joining?
Very important.
So if you look at NHT, my business partner Dan and I, we've been with NHT from the beginning. Dalibor joined us 15 years ago. Is it 15 years now, Dalibor? 15, 16
It's
years ago.
17, Joe.
15 now, yes.
Times fly.
Time flies. You look, Safraz Khan, the great Safraz Khan, has been with us since the beginning here with India. So our leadership is 100% committed. We're building a legacy company. So if you get involved with a company in India that the leaders have been involved in 3, 4, 5 companies in the last 5 to 10 years, or even 15 years, you know what their vision is. Their vision is just chasing money. They have no vision of building a long-term business. History will always teach you what will happen in the future. So, for example, done very well investing my uh, income that I've made in NHT into making more money in the stock market. I only invest in S&P stocks. You know why? Because they have a history
Yes.
of 20, 30, 40, 50 years. History will always tell you what happens in the future. So if you surround yourself with people, and again, I'm not judging, but it's the truth. With people that don't have that long-term vision, you're and just chasing money, it's gonna end up hurting you, you know? Um, and that seems to be an epidemic in today's world where um, people, here's the thing, ALN. if you can't succeed in NHT with the greatest products, the greatest, the highest compensation plan proven because of we're publicly traded, right? All the history and successes that we've had, you can't succeed here. Do you think going to another company that has not the story, not the products, you know, will with the same skill set, you'll succeed there? No. Here's the thing is I learned if I wanted to make the money that I wanted to make into the seven figures and the residual aspect and take advantage of everything around that, I needed to increase my skill sets, my mindset. That's the secret, not the company. That's the secret. Third thing that's so critical in moving forward is the company willing to introduce new products constantly. In the last 2 years, we've introduced 6 new impact products that would be the leading product of any company on this planet, right? We're always introducing new products to the marketplace. And then the last thing is the corporate leadership.
Yes.
Great thing about NHT from a corporate point of view is our CFO has been here since 2004. Our CEO, president, has been around here since 2004. They didn't come from the industry. They came from, Chris Sharn came from Mattel Toys. Scott Davidson came from an oil company. So they know how to run companies, financially. This is why NHT has been very successful financially over the years. Last part is global.
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of you may not think right now or have the belief that you can build a business outside of India. But I got to tell you, majority of our leaders, look at Delabor's a great example. He's in the Czech Republic, and 99% of his business is outside of Czech Republic. We have a global infrastructure. So if you want to have a contact in China, if you have a contact in US, if you contact in Peru, you want to start a business in Mexico, we have the global infrastructure for us to help you build that business in those markets. You don't have to do the training, everything's set up for you. So that is the other thing. And we're continuing to expand in the future.
Thank you, Joe. I think probably when all of you sitting here, you might have understood, right, what kind of people we are working with, right? Okay. I'm so fortunate. My 1 hour discussion, I think, made me to stay very strong and moving forward with a great vision, all because of this great leadership. Thank you very much, Joe, for really clarifying why they need to pick up NHT Global. But, being a visionary by yourself, I just want to ask a question, what kind of personal vision for India over next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so one of my greatest skill sets, ALN, but it's also one of my vulnerabilities, is I care. I care a lot.
Yes.
You and I have built a good relationship so far, but I care for yourself and your family. I've met your son. I want the best for you. Safraz, I'm constantly reaching out to him and because of his family. I really care. Dalibor, when he was going through the Ukraine, and I knew this was affecting him, right? I really prayed for him. So I just want to let everyone know that my vision in India is the same vision around the globe. I want to make India one of the top, that we will become one of the top companies, if not the top company in India. I want to help more people reach financial success. I want more health and wellness because our products have changed around the world. I want the best for people. And how are we going to do this? Is teaching the truth. So I'm going to give you 5 steps for everybody here today. First thing is you got to be very clear on your dream and you got to be in love with it. So you've got to nourish that love every single day. Second thing is you need to make a commitment that you'll never quit.
Yes.
To build something that is important in life, to build something that's going to create changes in your family, you got to be committed 100%. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world that doesn't commit because they're afraid to fail rather than
Very true.
love their dream. So you have to come to the point where you can't quit. Because I got to tell you, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of reasons to quit. People disappoint you. Maybe the company may screw up once. Maybe someone in your family, there's issues there because you're spending too much time on your dream, whatever it is. Being entrepreneur is not easy, but it becomes uh, well worth it when you achieve your dreams. And so that's the second thing. That's been my superpower from
Yeah.
the beginning. I've never thought of quitting, never let my mind get there. When people met with me, ALN, they felt my energy, they felt my commitment. I've rarely ever been pitched on a business. And that's because of the energy I give up because of my commitment. Third thing that you must have is be the product of the product. You must learn to be your best customer. I'm constantly, when you do your research on NHT's products and you see the value of the health that you give him, nothing's more important than health.
100%.
Nothing is important. Well, the fourth thing that you must do is set up some activity goals, which you and I did the other day. So my
Yes.
first year in NHT, my goal was to connect to 3 new people a day.
Every day.
One product, we were just in one country. We were not even open my home country, Canada, yet. And I was committed 3 people a day. It's easy to do and easy not to do. There were times where I had 2 people in the day and it was 10 o'clock at night and I needed to find another person to talk to at 10 o'clock. 3 people there. So at the end of the year, guys, I talked to over 940 people. Over 800 of them told me, no, Joe, this is never going to work. 800 people, but 140 of them said yes. And I found 5 really good people that started the vision that first year. And we did $20 million in sales that first year, despite a lot of the challenges that we had. So committing to an activity goal. Fifth thing is you got to be someone who shows up everywhere, shows up for your family, shows up for your business, shows up for the events. You got to be someone that shows up. I was
Yes.
100% all in. Dalibor is 100% all in. And being all in your family, in your life, you got to show up. You got to show up. What does that look like in showing up to you? Is being all in, committed, falling in love with your dream, sharing the product and the business every single day. You're showing up for your life. It's so critical. And then showing up for your personal development. One of the
Yes.
secrets to my success is I've spent an hour a day every single day in the last 33 years on myself, building my mindset, building my hope, building my prosperity, building my abundance. That has taken me to great heights. The person I've become on this journey has been because of what I have fed my mind on a daily basis.
Yes.
There's a concept called stacking, ladies and gentlemen. It's like compounded interest. If any of you
Yeah.
know about wealth, I can help you. If you're 18 years old right now and you save $100 a month, that's it, which I started doing when I was 18. By the time I was 40, that account was over $500,000 because of compound interest. So the same thing goes with stacking. When you stack a principle like personal development and growth, Oh, it doesn't help you today, may not help you tomorrow, next week, but over time, the neural pathways in your brain grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So let me just share with you a study. Real important to understand this is NASA, the North American Space Agency, a number of years ago did a study on astronauts, and they took these astronauts and put these concave glasses on these astronauts. These glasses made them look upside down. So these astronauts had to wear them 24 hours a day. So think about if you're in that study, how would you feel? Geez, I can't function.
Very difficult. Yeah.
It's making me sick. I can't walk. Everything's upside down. You know, in that first study, by day 27, day 26, every single astronaut started seeing right side up with the glasses on. They did a second study, but removed with different astronauts, but they had them remove the glasses day 15 for 24 hours and start all over again. You know, in the second study, it took them an additional, just missing one day, 26, 27 days to see right side up.
Yes.
So just to go over the study, when the first astronauts had those glasses on for 26 days, their entire thought process was, I can't wait till this is over. This is making me sick. Their goal was so embedded in their mind, they fell in love with it, that they wanted the study to be over. So their brain developed enough neural pathways to give them what they wanted. It's amazing what the brain can do. But the second study, just missing one day of discipline, just missing one day, started the cycle all over again. So this is what happens to human beings. They can get, say, focused for a week, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. But then they miss a couple of days and then have to start all over again. And they never build enough momentum in their life to achieve their dreams. So this is what happened to me in my first year at NHT and second year and third year. I just stayed consistent. I became the turtle instead of the rabbit. I was so consistent in my disciplines that I was able to achieve the success all over the globe. So personal development is incredible to do this every single day. And the last thing I want to share with you, that you need to surround yourself and chase your upline.
Yes.
Okay. I only work with people that are calling me, that are engaged with me, because I know they're hungry. You
Yes.
know, when I started years ago, I was chasing my upline every single day. I was so hungry. And this is all part of being all in. You know, you got to show the universe that you are hungry for your success. The squeaky wheel will always get the most attention.
Thank you, Joe. Actually, I think you understand, right? I'm so blessed actually for taking all this information. And today, I think all of you, you understood what actually we can get from NHT Global Leadership. Joe is such a good leader. You don't even look at your watch also when he keeps talking. Also, very important, right? He's got so much love within himself. He want to really help a lot of people. Thank you very much, Joe, for all the sharings you've given me. But in the market, when we go, right, many people they have this question actually: how committed is the corporate team to supporting India? This is a question normally we listen actually, and we just want an answer from you for that.
Okay, so the most important part is our leadership.
Yes.
The corporate people never build a business. It's ALN, it's Delabor, it's Safras Khan, and so many great leaders. The corporate team is there to support, making sure that we get our products in time, making sure that we are getting paid on time and we have good customer service, and then working with the leaders to help advance the business with promotions and et cetera, right? So that's been the culture that we've developed around the globe in NHT. And believe me, I am on our managers around the globe. I'm pushing hard But that's basically what we've built here in NHT is the communication, because most of the problems come down to communication. And when I don't see our leaders globally or distributors taken care of enough, I'm like a bull, a pit bull. I go in there, because we're all human beings and we want to be treated with respect. Um, uh, but it's important that we continue, no matter how big we get, that we care, that we have, that we really care about people, and care for their families and care for their future.
But I can tell you with my small experience also in Indian market, we had such a good team in India also. With Neha heading the country. And, I don't know how I could really find time in supporting even new leader also. Okay. And they're doing incredible job actually, and thank you very much for actually giving your version of it actually, Mr. Joe. And I just want to ask you one more question actually, being a leader by yourself and creating a massive, organization and massive success in leadership, you have many people are already very successful in direct selling through leadership, right? Okay. What is the message you would like to give every Indian leader to duplicate across the country?
Well, I just shared really the formula, you know,
Yes, five points.
yeah, the 5 points. But there's really 5 things that we do to outside of those things. First
Okay.
thing is we got to be our best customer. Okay. Second thing is we got to share the product every day. Third thing is we got to share the business and the vision, right?
Yes. Yes.
Fourth thing, we got to personally develop, build our skill sets. We have the World Cup here in Canada, right? And you look at Ronaldo, the Portuguese superstar, at 42 years old, he's still playing at a very high level. Why? It's because of his commitment to get better every single day during his career and what he puts in his mouth, right? So we got to learn how to build our skill sets because as human beings, we are incredible. We can accomplish anything we put our mind to, no matter what our beliefs are, no matter what's holding us back. If we have a vision for ourselves and we work towards it every day, we will accomplish it, bar none. And the fifth thing, which is the most important thing, teaching people how to do those 4 things. That's
Yes.
it.
Very important. Thank you, Joe, for that. Thank you. And I just want to actually ask one question for people who like just joined with us and are about to join also. There are many people are actually about to join. And what advice would you give someone just starting NHT today?
Okay, so first step is you need to qualify your position first. Sponsor one on the left and one on the right. Even before going into a business plan, you got to connect with your sponsor. And everyone knows 2 people that they can reach out to very quickly in the first 24, 48 hours. So when I got started, my first goal was to enroll those 2 people right away. Because in our compensation plan, that'll get you qualified. So work with your sponsor to enroll those 2 people very quickly. Okay, because speed is important when you start a business. Okay, a lot of people like to educate themselves about the product, wait till they get the product, move, and by a month, 2 months later, they're still doing research. It's important to get into action because that's how you're going to learn. And then the second step is devise a activity game plan with your sponsor, business plan. We've got a great getting started guide that you can go and do a business plan with them and how they're going to help you and work towards the third thing is make a commitment that you'll touch base with them at least once a day. Real important in the process. Fourth thing, as I shared before, make a commitment that you're never going to quit. Every building is built with a commitment of solid foundation. Fifth thing, now you eventually need to get into naming your dream, defining your dream. If you have a hard time doing that, because we're all programmed to not dream, that rich people are bad and that it's hard to achieve anything, and where I grew up, no one succeeds, all this programming. So if you have a hard time letting yourself into prosperity and abundance and hope, of defining what you want. Write down everything that you don't want in life. It's a good exercise. And then you can really see what you really want in life just from that list. So I'll tell you what I did. When I got started, I had hundreds of dreams. My vision was like huge, but I knew I couldn't focus on all of those things at once. So I said, what is the one thing that I can really fall in love with, that I can work on every single day, my vision, and visualize it, that if I achieve that, then I can achieve everything else. And that was a dream home for my family, right? And that was incredible. When I started NHT, I had a very clear vision of this dream home on the lake in my hometown. I started touching my dream, going with my family to these houses that were being built. I started visualizing every day. I wrote an affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful I purchased the home. Thank you, God. I was on every call I made. My vision was on that. 2002, I walked into a home that was being built, and my daughter ran up to the house, to the bedroom that was decorated for a little girl. I followed her up. She's sitting on the bed. I'm on the windowsill, sitting down, and she said, "Daddy, this is my bedroom." 2 years later, I moved into that house. I manifested that house all because of the system I just gave you. Everything's possible with NHT Global, ladies and gentlemen. Everything's possible, especially with the people that we have here leading the team.
Thank you, Joe. That was a great answer for everyone to suggest. I want to start today and want to get with NHT Global. But I just want to again ask you one more question. What advice would you give to leaders who want to build legacy than just income? Because the one conversation what I had with you made me think, I could not even sleep that night. You were talking about why it's so important to build a legacy, right? Okay. In fact, in 2002, when I started direct selling business, that dream is very much clear on that day. But when we kept on moving in the business, and somewhere we lost it actually. Okay, and that's even the case for many leadership also. I just want your advice on this and why legacy is so important.
So, guys, you have to ask yourself. You live in a great country, India. The history is unbelievable. Like if you just study, and if you look at one of your top leaders of all time, the world's top leaders, Gandhi, and what he was able to accomplish against all odds, like it's unbelievable. And there are some traits that I learned from Gandhi. So leadership in business, leadership in politics, running countries is critical. It's a resource that we can't have enough of. In our business, if we are able to build leaders and create leaders and grow leaders, we're going to have so much more prosperity and abundance. And that's been my vision from day one. So I have 4 rules that I learned from people like Gandhi that stand the test of time. If you look at majority companies that fail in business, 99% of them fail because of poor leadership mistakes. And network marketing is such a unique business because it's a volunteer army. And when you have a volunteer army, you cannot use the whip. You cannot force people to do what they
Yes.
don't want to do. Beliefs are so important. And leaders I've seen over the years ruin their organizations because of stupid decisions and actions. So there are 4 rules that I live every day by. Number 1, I treat everyone, no matter what their rank, what their background is, who they are, that they're the most special person in the world to me at that moment. Because people want to be the number one want in people's and needs in people's lives is that I'm important. All right, that I matter. And if you treat people differently than that, you'll never build a long-term business. Unfortunately, in our business, people get into the Hollywood stage or the Bollywood stage, or because they're making all this money there, all this success, and they think because they make more money, they're better than that person. that's struggling. Never. Always treat people with the highest respect. Number two, always follow through with your promises. Biggest mistake for companies and leaders is they make promises they can never keep. And the reason why they make promises, they get caught in the hype. And they say, hey, Len, if you do this, this is what I'm going to do for you. If you do that, or can't wait, in 2 years, we're going to have the most incredible product that's ever been launched in the history of mankind. And that never happens. Because when we're in the sales environment, we tend to hype and make promises. In our business, it will kill you. Never, ever make a promise that you cannot make. I rarely will get into that I can't fulfill because it will kill me. ALN. So it's so important to always follow through with the promise. So you and I do have a great relationship. We're best friends. 9 years later, I've done everything for you. I've everything for you and your family, but I screw up once.
Yes.
I break a promise. There goes the relationship. You're going to be focused on that one thing, not the hundreds of other things that I did right. Always make sure. Number two, three, we got always lead by example. Always lead by example. I find in leadership, people don't care what you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What are you doing today? They will stop listening to you. They have to follow your feet, not your mouth. So too many leaders in our industry, and you see it across India, talk about how successful they were, their training, but they're not on things they did 10 years ago, not today. It's so important to lead by example. And then the fourth thing, okay, also with our kids, if we're telling our kids to be respectful and everything else, and all day long we're disrespecting our wives and our other family members, what does that say? If we're telling kids, don't do drugs, don't smoke, don't drink alcohol, and we're doing that, what our kids are going to do, right? So, real important. Fourth thing is integrity. Here's the thing, guys. You can't be integrity in one part of your life and not integrity in another part of your life. It doesn't work that way. In that NHT, what you want to understand here 100% is that we don't give people a leg in NHT because you cannot fool around with the integrity of the compensation plan. Everyone needs to build two legs. Okay? It's amazing to me how many companies have done that and they're no longer doing business in the world. I can name companies, Monavie, Janess, so many other companies that have gone into markets like India, given leaders legs, and then they're recognizing these people for qualifying for ranks that they never did.
Yes.
Never accomplished. So you cannot have integrity in one part of the business or as a leader and then not have integrity in another part of the business. That's a red flag, ladies and gentlemen. 150%. Don't be fooled by that. And it's so important in business because of trust that we maintain integrity. Like I'd rather tell ALN the truth about something. That's a great thing about transparency. And if he catches me lie or exaggerate, it's going to affect our trust.
Yes.
It's going to affect our leadership, right? It just does not. So these are the 4 rules that I live by. That has maintained our business here the last couple of decades.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. And I think all the leaders who are there today probably will understand exactly what the leadership stands for. Very, very important. And this information what you given to us, very, very useful for everyone sitting here, Joe. And people love to hear you. I think nobody's actually left the session also from the beginning onwards. They still want to listen from you. But I know the value of your time. But I want to ask you the last question.
In future in ALN, we can do this again.
Thank you very much.
I think this format is very important because it's a training, but you have questions that people have come in mind. So we can definitely do that in the next.
Yes. Mr. Joe, finally, to take it forward, for every Indian leader to remember, right? What is the one last message you want to give to all of us?
You know what? I'm going to leave that to Mr. Delaware Strop. Delaware has impressed me today. I'll tell you why, is because he was vulnerable. And the best
Yes.
leaders in the world are vulnerable, because we're all human beings. We all have our stuff that we have to deal with, Not everyone out there, I believe all human beings are perfect. It's just the thoughts that are imperfect and our actions. So Delabar's vision is very similar to the same as mine. And I want to applaud him for his commitment and his, I love the guy. So I want him to have the final word on this. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you very much, Joe. Thank you for your time, and probably all sitting here, we had a great time, from Mr. Joy. He's not just a trainer. Okay, he is a person who did it by himself, and probably whatever he said, I'm very very thankful to you, Joe. You are very straight. That's what I like from you. I always love. I thought this meeting also should be like that, and probably you are the same, Joe. Thank you very much.
Uh,
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for being like that,
Namaste. Namaste, India.
Namaste.
Viva
Yeah.
India. Viva
Yeah.
NHT India. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And
Thank you very
last
much.
words to Dalibor. Last words to
Yes,
Dalibor.
yes. Yes, Mr. Dalibar.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Uh, Very good call. I always, when I join some call where somebody else speaking about NHT, I always measure the quality of the call, whether I want to join or not. So I want to join again. Thank you. Thank you, Joe, for sharing that. Well, regarding the vision, and I just want to get back to what you just shared, Joe. I remember one of my first calls with you when we had the call. I exactly remember where it was when I was sitting. It was in the office when I was still working on my clients as a graphic designer, and we had that call. And you were asking me what I want in life, what's my vision, and I actually wasn't very sure about that. But over the years, I just realized that what you were asking me was very important. And you were talking about being committed. And you told me that you should imagine that you have your legs in concrete, that you cannot move. And this is what I did. I just put my legs into concrete. I just decided for myself that I'm not going anywhere. I saw the potential in the company. I saw the good hearts of the people in the company, and that was very important for me. And I believe that people are joining businesses for the wrong reasons, only to chase money. And again, you already shared that before. So my vision is for India is to create a team of people that really care about each other, people who want to help other people to see a bigger vision, to see a bit bigger potential. Maybe just have extra, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 rupees a month extra to their salary. And for other people to have a, much higher income. But this vision, I think, can connect a lot of people. Because the biggest this difference in our company and the companies that are available on Indian market is that people can build a business in their own pace. They are not pushed to keep buying products they don't need. It's not the push business. It's the business where if you want to build business a big way, of course, you have to move fast, you have to build, and we are here ready to help you. But if you want to do it slowly, steadily in your own terms, you are welcome because the company will not push you and will not punish you for not building it the fast way. I think that's absolutely critical for Indian market because yes, it's a very price sensitive market and people do the math in a great way. They always do the calculations in their head better than any of us. And this is one simple thing that can really help you guys, you leaders that are listening right now, to show the big potential of NHT, that people can do the math. You don't have to spend the thousands and hundreds of thousands of rupees in the business, and you don't have to spend the 5,000 or 8,000 or 12, 15,000 a month, every single month, on products that you don't need. You can really build the business in your own, manner, in your terms. And with leaders like Sarfraz, ALN, and other that already joined us, I'm confident that we can build something really big, because they know why they are here. They know what it means that if you are in the company which you don't like, what happens with the companies where the corporate messes with the leaders, where the leaders are behaving unethically. So we will not allow this in our team, and we only want to build with people that really value other human beings and want to build something long term. So
100%.
thank you again very, very much, Joe and Alan, to putting this call together. And thank you guys who joined us on that call. So if that resonated with you, I definitely suggest you to get back to the person who invited you here. So thank you.
Definitely. Thank you very much. With that note,
Dhanavad,
actually,
Dhanavad.
Dhanyavad. Let's end this session. And thank you for your time. And I'm so thankful from all participants here. We want to thank you. And even from India also, we want to thank you a big way, right? Thank you, Mr. Joe, and thank you, Mr. Darivar.